Oil has been lifted above $92 this week by a perception on the part of the bulls that supply is tight and demand is hanging in. We just got the U.S. inventory report. Let's get through it with Bob Yawger, energy futures strategist at Mizuho Americas. Bob, it's great to see you. Maybe we can put up the highlights of that inventory report again, if that's okay. The storage at Cushing, Oklahoma, the crucial choke point, dropping to the seasonal lowest in about 5 years. Distillates demand up, and crude oil exports topping 5 million barrels a day. It looks like you do have a tightening crude market in the United States.
Yes, Andrew. I mean, you could take the OPEC situation off the table and you would still have a bid in the market just on WTI and U.S. crude oil dynamics. Overall storage is threatening to fall below 400,000 barrels, 400 million barrels in storage for the first time in years. And the situation, as you mentioned, at the NYMEX delivery site at Cushing is getting ugly. When you draw down storage too far at Cushing, you start to run into operational, I wouldn't call them problems, but it gets a little dicey. When the level is so low, the pressure starts to slide with it. And it is hard to drain those last barrels. We're getting close to those last barrels. So, yes, it's an issue. There's chatter in the market that there could eventually be problems along those lines.
Why is American storage down so much? Is consumption that strong, Bob?
It is. Demand is strong. Like you said, we have a really good gasoline demand number. The distillate number was up almost 500,000 barrels in this report. That's gigantic. So, yes, we had a really good summer. The refinery here in the United States ran really hot, the hottest level since pre-COVID. We were running as high as 95.8% of capacity. That's the highest level since 2019. And when you run that high, you go through a lot of crude oil, 16.5 million barrels. The all-time record is 17 and change. I don't know if we'll ever get there again, but we were boiling a lot of crude oil to make a lot of gasoline and a lot of distillate. So, yes, we are, and we export a lot more now, Andrew. We were consistently exporting 5 million barrels, 4 or 5 million barrels in that range. And that just draws down on storage. Not to mention, Andrew, and here's a kicker, and this is part of the problem at Cushing and at overall storage. There's the rising interest rate in the United States and globally, for that matter, makes it more expensive to store crude oil. The interest rate just eats up cost of carry. Yeah. And so nobody really wants to stuff barrels in storage for a long time.
Speaking of interest rates, there are fears that this oil well above $90 could spur the Fed to increase rates yet again.
Yes, it could. I mean, as of right now, you look on the CME Fed site, they have a 40% chance of a rate hike by the end of the year. There's 1% chance going into today's announcement at the Fed meeting today. So there's a 40% chance, and that's probably going to start to walk higher if crude oil starts to approach $100, and your average price at the pump here in the States starts to approach $4. It is actually already approaching $4. If it breaches the $4 level, to my opinion, that's an area where you will start to see demand destruction, but it will obviously increase inflation in the process.
Bob, before I let you go, you're a resident of New Jersey. Your state is pressing ahead with a proposed ban of fossil fuel-powered light vehicles in about 12 years' time, emulating California. Do you think that will go through in New Jersey?
That's going to be a tough one, Andrew. I think that they'll put that number out there and negotiate from there. But I don't see that being every vehicle by the time 12 years runs up. We'll still have folks that can't really fit into that niche area where EV is going to be something that's they're going to be able to afford.
It's going to be interesting because people are talking about tenants. They can't recharge their electric cars in some cases.
Yeah, it's tough. We need to really start to sink some infrastructure capital into basically our interstate highway system. And we have to get ahead of that first before we start to really commit to an overall EV platform where everybody's involved. If you look at the Eco Clean Energy Index right now, it's getting creamed. It's at a 3-year low. So it's not really performing very well, and it's not paying off the investor right now.
These are the renewable energy stocks, basically.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Charging, cars, solar, hydro, the whole thing.
Yeah, they